is to go to the Ask Science subreddit. Don't trust the answers in the subreddit.
So yeah, we watching the finale of Last of Us Season 2 on HBO Max.
I'm just going to read you some. Is there any reason that light travels at speed that it does? Can static cause fire?
And I was gonna watch AEW Dynamite, but it's like my stream got taken out. I don't know, got cut off for some. I don't know. It was like malfunctioning shit. I don't know.
Very good starting points.
So I'm just gonna watch The Last of Us finale, the colonizer episode of it.
Static cause fire. Just start thinking like, okay, what is static electricity? What causes a fire? Can I think of a situation? You don't have to post it. See if you were close to what they said. See if you can argue against what they were saying. And I think that's kind of a proxy for talking to someone about
Alex Wonstill, Emily Wonstill.
Go read the comments and see what they thought. Were you way off base compared to what the most common answer was? I think that's a really nice little way to do privacy of your own phone while you're just sitting in the back or whatever. So those are my tips. I think that's a fantastic idea. I hope you all do it. Even if it's just watching YouTube videos and reading popular things, it's still fun to think about physics, and I think it's great. I will leave you with my biggest piece of advice, which is just this. So in September of 2023, I saw this really cool article about
in my next run, I want to be Hawk Girl. I'm a justice. Oh, damn. Damn, that's some gruesome shit. From she's giving birth right now, Donna.
Then I got distracted by like bad science news, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna make a video briefly about antimatter.
Damn, dude.
So if you need to know about antimatter, watch this one first. But briefly, antimatter and antimatter hydrogen, which is what we're going to be looking at, is made up of an antiproton, which is the same mass as a proton inside of a regular hydrogen, but it has the opposite charge. An anti-electron, sometimes called a proton, that is the same mass as a regular electron, but it has a positive charge. So this is what a regular old hydrogen looks like, and this is what anti-hydrogen looks like. And the thing about antimatter is that they are made with pairs. Right? So they'll make an electron. You'll also make an electron. Everything. When you look around the universe,
Yeah.
questions like, okay, but everything's made of matter. Like this meat sack sitting in front of the camera, made of matter. The antimatter's not around.
I'm worried about my lover, dogs. I don't care about you.
Study antimatter so we can try to explain like what happened early in the universe that led to where we are now, where it seems like matter has won and it is just dominated over the antimatter. Where did that go? We have to study the antimatter to answer that question. One of the ways we do that is by learning about its basic properties, like how it interacts with gravity. So we're back around. So you might have seen this paper and said, why would they measure that? Of course antimatter falls down. What is a silly thing to measure? Of course gravity works the same for matter and antimatter. Of course it does. Why would you spend presumably conservatively hundreds of millions of dollars that start measuring the fact that antimatter falls down. Of course, and I would like to answer that question of why would you do this with three very specific reasons from three different experiments. It's a framing of the video. So the first reason why you would do this, why would you measure antimatter falling down? Of course it falls down. Is because like you kind of just have to check, right? What if it didn't? You have to check. That's my favorite kind of experiment. Like, is this gonna happen the way expected? Yeah, it did. So the year is 1957. They're doing a conference, with physicists about particle physics, all the stuff, like your post-World War II style of physics. And Bill Fairbanks, American physicist, was there, and I think he was just a student at the time. And in the session on antimatter, the session chair, the lid, says this: nothing is known about the gravitational acceleration of antimatter. So this was just a statement of facts. At the time, in 1957, no one measured how the very newly discovered antimatter interacted with gravity. And this just kind of wiggled its way into Bill Fairbanks' head. And he was kind of sad on that. And then years later, in 1968, he's a professor at Stanford. And his student Whitburn, a handy guy, likes test books. So they develop an experiment to measure how gravity affects the motion.
So I bet gotta wait till season 3 to get the battle between the sexes, Abby versus Ellie. That's gonna be season 2, season 3,
which we expect it to based on what we know about gravity. So they developed this free fall apparatus. They kind of shoot electrons up, and they want them to fall down. And they can put some like fields on it, try and supplement gravity in one way or the other, because of course electrons have charge. They would be strongly affected by any fields, much more than they would gravity. So the idea is, we can do a situation by putting an electric field around this and comparing it with different values of the field. Maybe that would be a good proxy for measuring gravity, because gravity is orders and orders and orders and orders of magnitude weaker than the electromagnetic force. So if you're going to measure something like how much particle interacts with gravity, you need to have complete, accurate knowledge of every single electromagnetic field that particle is also experiencing. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to pull the gravity out, because the gravity is just so much more weaker. And it turns out that this experiment, it's just impossible. Like, you can't do it, especially like, you can make a beam of electrons. You can try to remove as many electromagnetic fields as you can, but environmental effects will just overwhelm the numbers, and you cannot pull out gravity's contribution to that motion, because that contribution is so tiny. So the goal of measuring gravitational effects on electrons and then comparing it to positrons never happened, because they just couldn't do the experiment.
La 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 la.
Adios expected.
Are they gonna kiss? Come on, kiss. Kiss her.
Well, Psycho certainly got creative with a time of destination bloodline. Feeling is one of the most iconic early 2000s horror franchises. Is it Scream? Absolutely not. Is it fun? Mostly always yes. And for those unaware, One Destination is the disaster franchise where a group of people narrowly avoid death after someone has a premonition of the disaster and then go on to be picked off in absurd ways as death evens the score. Because you can't cheat death, baby. It's just a very simple set of rules. And mostly it's in your foot, because a lot of those deaths are being so brutal you'd probably wish Well, sometimes. There's a world where this all got derailed before it even started. If it had gone in production even just like a year later, I realize that's a long time by film standards, but if it had been planning for a 2001 release over a 2000 release, it may never have come out, or the home release might have been heavily affected by some other horrible tragedies involving planes. But it's a series that's both fun and does a really good job tapping into these inner experiences we've all had and inner thoughts, weird gut feelings, narrowly avoiding an accident, even the most mundane house slip-ups where you're like, dang, it could have been so bad. You trip over a box and then realize your trajectory was taking you right to the corner of a desk. And then, of course, the standard paranoia around worst-case scenarios while on a plane or a bridge. So it's really something that can tap into the fears in our brain, which I always find is a great basis for a horror movie. And now, for the first time in 14 years, we have another installment to the franchise, and it's pretty darn good, guys. We're going to do a little mix here today. As usual, I'm going to talk about the
Yeah, it also stars the girl from Stargirl.
in the beginning, but in between that, I'm going to talk about the other installments and then rank them up at the end, because why not? Final Destination is a franchise people are always like, why haven't you talked about that? This might not be as detailed as the Scream video, but you'll still get my thoughts. In a very unintentionally hilarious way, I'm actually about to go on a little mental health break to one of the locations.
Day 3, huh? We're in day 3.
I figured I'd do a little bit of extra before I take off. You might not even realize I'm gone, or I might get caught in a death loop like Devin Sawa. I have to not say that. Books or comics, because there's actually a bunch of those too. I know I've read at least one of them.
I did not know there was a bunch of books and comics about this.
The big one, but I'm doing this. I do think the franchise does a really good job keeping each installment mostly related, but able to work as a standalone film outside too. And even that, when you get caught up by the end, it's just very directly related to the first movie. And while Bloodline doesn't specifically mention any of the other movies, it's clearly tied in, but works great as a jumping-on point for new viewers. So if you have never seen a Final Destination movie, you are absolutely A-okay to start with this one, and I think this is a great one to start out with. Just like you're A-okay to use today's sponsor, Surfshark. If I'm going to hunting me down, I'd just commute to a different server location so it wouldn't know where I was. Surfshark VPN is my go-to when trying to access free content and online. You connect to thousands of different server locations around the world, so that's where your internet thinks you are. Which has a ton of uses. Like when I travel, I can use it to make sure my YouTube Premium works as expected and that my Canadian streaming services are accessible everywhere.
Whoa!
It's not my fault that Canada has Crave. I need my HBO shows. And if I know that another country's Netflix has a movie I'm trying to watch that I just can't watch in Canada, I can just use Surfshark so my Netflix thinks I'm in that location. Take this video, for example. Netflix in Canada has none of the Final Destination movies. Netflix has them all, except 4, which is fine. It's like they knew they needed to leave out one out. So all I had to do was connect to a UK server location, refresh the page, and boom, all the death hijinks I could ever want. Is my main priority when it comes to Surfshark, because there's nothing worse than not being able to watch something that you know is just available somewhere else behind a little box. And Surfshark teleports you right through that barrier. It's not secure, blocks you want to ads, and it even lets you generate alternate emails and US phone numbers so you can cut down on spam and scam. Check out Surfshark for yourself today by going to surfshark.com/Jedi or by using code JEDI at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark. Which brings us to no spoiler thoughts on Bloodline, which is super fun. If you can catch it from a theater with a good amount of people in it, they're all like Scream. It is absolutely ideal. It's bloody, creative, more so than ever. A lot of these detailed Rube Goldberg machine, where it's not a matter of what thing is going to kill the person, but in what order are they going to be used to cause the death. I know that is very common for Final Destination, but this movie really ramps it up. This is a movie that knows exactly what it is, what it needs to be, and plays into that into the best. Lots of really big pieces for the kills too. Lots of fake outs to previous deaths that keep it squirming. A classic. I think the biggest issue with this one, unfortunately, is a lot of the sentimentality that they try to throw into it. Like there's some familial drama going on here, and it's very weak with certain characters. But even those movies get funny when you have characters delivering lines like, "I can see it coming. We have to do this again." When was that she said that immediately after she didn't see something happening? It's not bad up even the most part. Nuggets. I also think the third act before the classic Final Destination finale was fairly weak, unfortunately. The build-up to that point is so very fun, and it closes out crazy enough that we'll allow it. It also doesn't last that long, so it's fun. I actually had no idea what to expect going into this movie.
That's why I said Sinners was my number 1 favorite, and Final Destination Bloodline is an okay horror movie. It's like okay, but not as good as Sinners. It's not as good as Sinners. I'm sorry, I love Sinners more than I love Innocent Bloodline. I'm sorry. It's like I had a better time watching Sinners and Final Destination Bloodline.
I won't go into any deeper detail on that right now, so I'm not going to go around so much, which I'll detail when we get there. I think this one has a big crop of characters, really fun banter. Though I do think I like some of the more disposable characters than the leads, but it's still solid. It does start veering into generational trauma, but it's almost like they realize that that's like the trend of the moment and immediately just pulled back from going too hard on it just to maintain what people want out of a Final Destination movie. Some weird happenstances, some coincidences, the idea of cheating death, the crazy imaginations that fall out when it comes to if you're a fan of Final Destination or horror in general, this is an easy recommend for the theaters. If you can catch it with like a nostalgic audience and it's not your audience, but like this is one. You like some more people there. Again, it does have a minorly stupid third act, but the ending is fantastic for the occasion, so we'll hold back. Just to move the previous installments, which we'll get to when we get down to the spoilers, but like this was exactly what you needed.
Come on, Ellie, let's go.
This is where I fall in the other Final Destination. And again, we'll start with like a little mini recap for those of you who want a little refresher before Bloodlines and just want to know my thoughts. I'm going to put some timestamps down below if you really just want to cut to the Bloodlines breakdown. So all the way back in the year 2000, the Final Destination 1, where a group of high schoolers are on their way to Paris. Maybe a little bit retroactively because we had like Death and Sawa. I'd love for this one and Cancer and Sean Scott, fresh off American Pie, Ellie Larder in between Varsity Blues and Legally Blonde, Kurt Smith in the middle of his Dawson's Creek run. Definitely some of the familiar faces, but always one of the main staples of any good teen horror, a robust like or love to hate character. And it is a great kind of
yeah, let's get wet.
We get a person who's just thinking about that play all day, and then finds himself having a premonition of the plane exploding following a series of malfunctions. So when he's rushed back,
yeah, let's go, Ellie.
Again,
the clackers.
The tray table breaking, he freaks out and gets a handful of people.
Oh, no, it's not clackers. It's random.
As the plane doesn't explode. It obviously leads to a lot of mixed reactions from the survivors. Peter here, who is thankfully in awe of him, and he has the teacher is terrified of him. Carter blames him for it. Chamberlain and Scott just timidly treats him like a psychic. His best friend blames him for that happening because his other son didn't make it out to flight. That's not something like that with the favorite son. All fairly valid responses, maybe not the last one, but when you just don't understand why something happens, you put a little bit of anger and feelings out.
No, not me, motherfucker, not me!
A weird feeling, a strange wind, switching out to match the plate number 180, which will go on to be the is working in action with a poker line.
Yeah, they slash the kid, but it ain't you, sweetheart. It ain't you, Abby. Stop being a little bitch. Abby, stop being a bitch, Abby. We can't interfere, okay? We can't interfere, Abby. We have to go, girl. What would Joe do? What would Joe Dirt do? Joe Dirt. I'm sorry. It's like right there, Dirt.
Of the nature of death and its design, and that by throwing off that design, death will always be trying to right itself. The only way you might be able to prevent that from happening is disrupting the pattern again. Basically, you know that you're supposed to be the next one who dies. You stop that event from happening and then you move on to the next person. And this is where we get the introduction of one of the key rules. The new deaths always take place in the same order those people would have died had they not made it out of the original disaster. So that's how they can try to disrupt it. They should always know who's next. Obviously, people swapping seats around makes this a little bit confusing, but if Parker's not down for this plan, though, and just wants to take them all out at once so they're not just waiting for some horrible fate, by the time you realize it's not his time to die, Death won't let him out. Because it is your turn. Because Alex tries to save him and refuses to move out of the way of the train. It's not his time to die yet. Death lets him save Carter and immediately takes out Billy. Decapitated by shrapnel. And that's how fast it can move on to the next person if you mess with it. So by the end, like many horror movies, the three survivors think they're in the clear. It's like a replacement trip to Paris 6 months later, which I thought was a little bit weird. But then Alex and Clear suddenly start getting an odd feeling. Before Carter pulls Alex back from his death, immediately switching it back over to him. So what's next?
You!
That's what this empire is built and I think iconic mean ending. Like, yeah, we've still got two leads, but with the understanding that death is always cycling back towards them, bringing us to Final Destination, which is not a bad thing.
No one did.
It comes down to not loving the protagonist in this. I think she's kind of boring, and I don't like the romance they try to set up with her and the cop. Her name's Kimberly, and I feel like I only remember that because it reminds me of Power Rangers. But I do like how they tied this into the first movie, and there's a lot of good stuff going on with characters outside these.
Because her name's Kimberly. Yes, we are.
The same thing we know. 1 year later, on the anniversary of that original 180 crash, starting with a highway chain reaction instead of a plated state, which is where the log theme,
Damn, my nigga.
And to make this one extra cool, when Kimberly tried to stop the chain reaction from happening, her friends in the car still end up hit and pulled into the pileup, so they're all dead. And so the people that survived have no direct connection to her at all. And just like in part one, but much faster, the people that died in her premonition start dying in that order. We're talking next day, this group ends up impaled by his fire escape ladder. Because this is a continuation, a lot of people in this movie are aware of Flight 180, and that like there was some like weird thing about someone seeing it before it happened, and then everybody who got off the plane still ended up dying, except for Clear Rivers, who had voluntarily checked herself into an asylum because, yeah, in our off-screen time, Alex ends up killed by a phone break. Apparently it's because he had existing commitments, but yeah, that sucks. Yeah, Claire basically just becomes a guru for the group. She leaves the asylum to help them, brings them right to Bloodworth for another mildly unsettling death breakdown where he says that only new life can defeat death.
Yeah, because I'm Candyman.
Candy. I got a new one for you. Yeah, that ends up meaning that if you die and get brought back to life, death gets to count you as a body, but you get to go on living. It takes them a bit to get to this point, though. Before that, it's mostly people just not believing that going wrong at all. But then after it becomes undeniable that they're all going to die horrific deaths, they realize that each one of them was involved in a situation where if the people who had survived Flight 180 hadn't got off it, they wouldn't be alive either. So the comp got pulled away from his partner who ended up killed to handle the train situation that killed Billy. Eugene would have been stabbed by a student, but he was transferred to a different school 2 days beforehand to replace Val Luton. So none of them should be alive because that person shouldn't have been around to intervene. Which I thought was a super cool way to build on this premise.
A Sesame Street book.
That really is such a
yeah, you know, it's kind of funny you reference that because Donald Trump hates Sesame Street. That's why it had to be saved by Netflix. Because Donald Trump hates when your kids know shit that he doesn't know. So he canceled Sesame Street, aka PBS. Because the white man can't stand when people know shit that he doesn't know. That's why Chris, what's his face, sucks. That's why y'all suck.
All of her premonitions are actually about her, and that the doctor she thought was going to kill someone is actually going to be around to revive her. So she drives an Ellie into the lake. Like, it would take so long for her to die here, but sure, it worked. So this is apparently the only guaranteed survivor of the franchise. I guess he's one too, but I think it's just her. No offense, girl, but I get she's in Criminal Minds. She's one of the suicidal virgins. I just don't care about her character. Out of all the people we could have had survive, we get Kimberly. This is not one of the people from Final Destination 4. Now, they're not completely happy it's not that kind of franchise because they realize at the end of the movie that the kid of the farmer who had helped them in the field was saved by Rory, meaning that he's another loose end and gets blown up by the barbecue. Lots of fun in this movie. Someone gets decapitated by an elevator. It kicks off the classic log death fear in the movies, which everyone can relate to if you've been near one of those. I just don't like those two main characters much at all. Maybe I'm alone, let me know, but I just thought they were kind of boring.
I think Bella Swan's kind of cute. She's a cute little...
And I think it's a very solid jumping off.
She's a cute vibe. I can't get her.
Writers come back for this one, which I do.
I don't think she deserves all the hate she gets. Bella Swan.
Still operates enough on its own to not matter if you haven't seen them. I also remember that I had an interactive portion on the DVD called Choose Their Fate, where you could make key decisions at specific points in the movie to change the course of events. Until Dawn Who. Obviously, you can only go so far, especially at the time, but it's a neat gimmick. I think this movie actually had a ton of like very bad test screenings until we got to the final version, which I really liked. But I guess I could try some different options. Maybe that was the point from the beginning. I thought it's cool. It's nice. It also stars Scott Pilgrim, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is fantastic as always, Brian Berringham, who was in Halloween Resurrection and the two Ring remakes before this, and then went on to do
Say hello.
Yeah, she was kind of cute. And then she also did Obi-Wan Kenobi show as what's her face from the Road Rage Stars
In
Rebels.
Pretty Little Liars, Canadian actor Jesse Moss, who does a ton of voice acting work, but is also the guy Ginger hooks up with in Ginger Snaps. Also, Chris Lumpkin, who is Sam in Ginger Snaps. Final Destination 3 added a fun new element that felt like it was speaking directly to me.
Kind of tired too.
Speeches and Die, and of course, Speeches and Die. It's a senior carnival event, taking yearbook pictures, terrified of roller coasters, very similar to terrified of flights. Before she has a position of the coaster derailed. She freaks out, gets let out along with an announcing section that they won't let her boyfriend off, who ended up at the front of the coaster, to then die. And this is a fantastic starting set piece. Who doesn't have that fear? Even if you love roller coasters, you're still always going to have that moment of like, oh my god, what a like this just falls off. So Kevin and Wendy lose their significant others in the senior class is a little bit wrecked. And Kevin really hones in on that
I'm tired.
which puts Wendy down a rabbit hole all the way back to Lincoln and through the disaster through the movies. Lincoln is because the
roller coaster. Tilt
through his head that apparently matches
What do you
the
call it?
trajectory that killed him. These are the things that these weird deaths happen. Lincoln has been going down from generation to generation. We'll actually find it a little bit. We'll get there. But this is where Say Cheese and Die comes in. The pictures that Wendy took basically end up being omens for how the people who got off the coaster end up dying. And this movie has some of the most iconic deaths of the franchise. Other than the coaster, we've got that tanning bed scene where two girls end up torched. Their picture had a crazy light flare distortion. Then Lewis's head here is like oddly out of the shot because of the frame rate, and then you just see the two Sultan swords and the hammer belt in front of him. So he dies at the gym when Sultan's swords slice the cables to the machine he's working on, and the weights crush his head. You know, honestly, he probably went faster here than he would have on the rope. Nail gun death. I think about it every time I've seen one. I know that's one of my favorite chooses. So I was like, look at that, just shoot right in. Really packed in there. But that makes it interesting. Because Ethan was supposed to be a connect, but then Wendy and Kevin intervene, so it immediately flips to Ian's girlfriend. This took him on a bit of a revenge run against Wendy, where it seems like he's supposed to be the cause of her death, which would have been a really interesting turn of events. Then he gets squished by a cherry picker. I really like the final act here with the fireworks and the horse. There's lots of near misses. So at this point, Wendy, Kevin, and her sister Julie, who's supposed to be the next to die before Kevin saved her, all being really clear, they cheated death, they avoided their
Come on, Ellie. Stop being a bitch, Ellie. I know, bitch. But stop being a bitch, Ellie. You my girl and all, but you always gotta be a bitch. Damn, Ellie. Stop being a bitch. I'm gonna help you out, white girl, but damn, stop being a bitch, Ellie. Ellie, why you always gotta be a bitch, Ellie? I get it, damn. Yeah, I'm supposed to be give me a hug, Ellie. Stop being a bitch, Ellie.
Yeah, easily one of my favorites of the series. And partially probably because it's the first one I saw, but I also think it's very fun and lots of iconic moments, even the way that Herbert died. Crazy.
Yes, stop being a bitch, Ellie. Stop being a bitch. You my girl, all, but damn, stop being a bitch.
The guy who played Ken Duncan in it, the school is McKinley and I, and somehow I still think Glee is more cursed than Final Destination. So then we get the Final Destination. One of the exact type of movies that Screen Club would go on to make fun of, and I think it is the worst of the bunch. It's technically chronologically prepared installment, but it doesn't feel related in any way at all. Like, there's no mention of those previous installments. There is a bunch of 180 was just which I guess Screen 5 also it was really hard to 3D because that was the gimmick at the moment. The CGI is absolutely atrocious. It's literally one of the freaking horror movies I've ever seen in my life that actually has a budget to work with. It's just one of the freaking movies I've ever seen. And the acting is also really bad. It's an educational video bad. Like I've seen bad boys Instagram feeds better. James Wong, the director of parts 1 and 2, turned the movie down, so David Ellis from part 2 came back and sadly doing a much worse job in my opinion. Wong didn't want to be involved in the 3D gimmick. He was tragically busy making a live-action Dragon Ball Z movie, and that seemed to be the end of his producer career. Still does stuff in TV. It's funny. In terms of the initial event, it also feels like the first 3 work. It feels like the one that people would be least likely to have paranoia around. It can make sense for people to freak out about planes, car accidents, roller coasters, and mostly all pretty common anxiety, but also compounding anxiety that I just don't think that speedway racing events.
Of blood. Kind of funny because we won't know if the blood happened in the real world because the president wants you to pay for that shit.
Any other characters all suck too. They're all so very bland. I think the only character I ended up liking this is the security guard from the speedway. And he really just makes like weird choices that seem like it runs certain racist. Because Speedway has this racist redneck who suddenly starts whistling Dixie and then calls the security guard the N-word at a funeral. Yeah, that's totally not expecting like hard or not. He ends up being first to go out drugged by his own truck, which is nice because literally planning a lynching. The movie feels disconnected from the rest of the franchise. It's disconnected from itself. This is going to build up for connective tissue.
I'm the guy from DC's Legend of the World season 2 and the final rest of it. As neat. I was neat. Still. I'm the DC version of Colossus. Oh. Okay, we're going to the roller coaster. Not roller coaster, tilt to whirl. And we're gonna party like a boat because it's rocking on a boat. Ellie gotta go to the road. Wow, you gotta swim for it, Abby. Whitey, you gotta swim for it, white girl. Get your little bitch ass up. Let's go. Let's go, bitch.
Someone being eaten up by an escalator. And he does it. Ends up nailed down in a way that's much less effective than in part 3, but still alive, thinking once again
the boat scene.
Until they're at that coffee shop, Nick starts noticing all the same signs from the movie repeating. He notices that it's coming. I think he saw at the beginning of the movie on screen. There's now been X. He starts wondering if they only survived because Death had another plan for them before they get killed. Not real. This was all in all. It was like something I did, a little bit of expanding the role and rules. Yeah, that just feels like another very a horror movie from this time in history. Also, if they worked with a guy in first premonition, why would he then have two premonitions of them dying? Oh well, if you think Monkey makes sense, you have to say that that premonition was never meant to happen. So Nick intervening doesn't mean all those people at the mall need to die. The original premonition wasn't for him or maybe anyone else, so that he can't do anything to fear them.
Wow. Wow, Ellie, you just got Ellie, you little what cracker ass got.
Jason Voorhees sticking his hand out of the lake at the end of the first movie. Yeah, this one is only in last place. It is fine to have on while doing things around the house, but it was just so unnecessary. When we get the final destination, I feel like people just
wow, we're gonna do that. Yeah, I know it was in a video game, but it's like, wow. We're gonna have a hanging. White girl gonna get hangman at a page. White girl gonna get hangman at a page. It's like right there. Oh, look. Yeah, white girl, we don't care. White girl, we want some white meat. You gotta eat, bitch. You gotta die, bitch. White meat, the other type of meat. Main character shielding, Abby. Main character shielding, bitch. Main character shielding, bitch. I know that was like in the video game, kind of like. It's like
seems to survive this premonition. So they're like, we could be safe even after
and she found a handgun. White girl found a handgun.
Movie, there was a decent amount of it in the first movie, but they know what.
Bitch found a handgun. I'm gonna make it after all.
Away with it entirely, and in this one, there's an FBI agent up Sam's ass almost the entire movie, and Todd Packer is playing. There is no mention of any previous. And I do think they did a really good job of making handed to Peter's. And one of the many vacancies. I think she's gonna step on a smooth, doing it, set things in motion. Someone else gets frustrated, sent to a massage parlor, and that is another one who's thinking something else is going to cause distress. I literally can't watch happen where Olivia has her out with the malfunctioning LASIK machine, which is absolutely one of my many for this, I mentioned how William Blood was cameo because William the coroner and used them with some haunting wisdom about death. But death is killing them because they shouldn't be alive, and the only way to make it out is
Yeah, you gotta be in all of the movies, including the new one.
The death note method. That's a new one. It actually worked well. They sure think it did. There was a mishap clearly trying to take out Nathan, and then this other guy instead, so they assume that Nathan is now clear because Dennis Packer keeps taking out Nathan. I wouldn't have directly called that murder, but I guess if someone else gets taken out in death plan when it was coming at you, I guess it feels like it got its life. Realizing that makes Peter, who's pissed at Sam for saving Molly in the premonition, and Candace decides to kill Molly too, so they don't. It can't be Sam. It's around them. But unfortunately, Agent Brock ends up getting away, but Sam does still manage to kill Peter, which they believe to save him because Peter was no longer in that list because Sam Peter with Sam is remaining alive, or can he have multiple plans for you? Yes.
Oh, there we go.
The entire movie, Sam's been talking about wanting to Paris to
Got the gun.
Restaurant, the flagship.
Oh yeah, you gotta build it up.
81, which not only ties back into the number 180, but if you remember, that is the cafe they were at in French for the sign crushed Carter.
Yeah, but you gotta wait. You gotta save those bullets, girl.
This movie was a secret prequel. They are getting on the same plane that is about to explode. And I love that. Again, they were just sprinkling in enough little hints for people paying attention. Like, I know I was like, why do they keep mentioning Paris? That's such an interesting thing. Like, and there's also a picture at one point of Olivia where she's clearly at the same amusement park from part 3. So you know that there's connection, like the prequel bit. That's cool. So it's not the best movie overall. I love the fact that they called it part 5 and they made a prequel. That ending is super good. It does have some funny moments. It's got some iconic.
Then what about the 6th one?
Slightly above 2, I think. So that finally brings us to Bloodline, which means spoilers. So we're gonna go
Bloodline 6.
I feel like
The final
Bloodline.
Final Destination 6. Bloodline.
Stupid. Finger trick, which has been present in part 2 of the movie to let you know that like a disaster is coming. It's like one of those initial indications after they come back from premonition that things are going to play out.
Yeah, stupid. That's why it's not one of my. It's not my. It's not a great horror film, but it's okay to watch. Horror films. That's why I prefer Sinners over Final Destination 6 Bloodline. I'm just saying.
That ended up making it look like Alice might have stabbed her, but that was a little shenanigan set piece there. It reminded me a lot of the aunt kill in The Monkey. Even Coins, which has been a less common conclusion to the series, I think mostly in the Final Destination, but they play a prominent role here. And with Lincoln on it, which feels like it ties right back into part 3 with the Lincoln. It all just feels connected. Oh my God, Lincoln. They also managed to get Tony Todd back one last time before he passed away from cancer, and it actually works as a fantastic send-off for the character that answers some of the big questions people have had about him for a while. And a nice little send-off to us. And overall, I just think this movie does a really good job taking like little.
Yeah, that was his last movie before he passed away. God rest his soul, dog. That was my name. He also was Candyman, so it was like, there you go.
called it stupid. It's not stupid in a fun way. Let's dive in a bit. As mentioned, this movie starts in 1969 with Iris going to the opening of a brand new Skyline restaurant that honestly made me feel like this could have been in the same universe as Drop, or the Drop is secretly in the Final Destination universe. No, pretty quickly there are a bunch of things that could potentially go wrong. The building is tricky.
I am not Harry Potter.
Early, the elevator is
Hey, Abby, don't try to don't be a bitch, okay? Oh my God, you cock blocker. You cock blocker, Abby. You cock blocker.
You think it's going to be one thing and then it ends up being something else. This movie really does a good job making it all in some way. So first you get a piece of the chandelier dropping and cracking the dance breaks glass. And it's filled in. A little shit of a kid starts whipping pennies and one of them gets sucked into the vents and just stuck in a fan, and it leads to first the support joints of the building were already starting to go. There's some probably
Yeah, I'm the white girl from DC Stargirl show on the CW. Cause I'm Stargirl, Stargirl. Oh my God, I'm the hot white girl from Stargirl. No, it is like.
And the building basically starts to Titanic, and that penny just falls off the vent to land on the piano, just enough to edge it over and start pushing people out and going right out the window. Probably leads to the most satisfying death of the entire movie, one where you're like, yeah, get that little shit. The piano crushes the little kid. This is a year for.
His little crack ass died. I'm gonna do a PD. I'm gonna do a PD. Oh, piano killed your ass, you little brat. Fuck your little brat ass, little kid.
She actually manages to stop the entire chain reaction. She doesn't just grab her DVD fiance and run. She starts actively like grabbing the penny from the kid, making sure the pool PlayStation comes down, getting everybody off the dance floor.
Yeah, Stargirl. Way to save the day, Stargirl. Way to save the day, Stargirl.
It was a nightmare that Iris' granddaughter has been having for a week with the granddaughter who never met her. What a fun little flip-up.
Yeah, the granddaughter of Stargirl is the girl who saves the day. My grandma is Stargirl. No, it's the actress who plays Stargirl. It's the girl who plays Stargirl in the CW, man. It's like funny. I can make Stargirl work. I'm gonna save the day because I'm Stargirl.
Where they were going, but she was just telling them all the different ways they were going to die, which really shot off once their father died. That's when she really started tackling battle cabin.
It means do it, bitch.
Even inside, it was easy to see so many different ways for death to find her. She's just
it's happening, bitches. Help me, I'm dying, bitch.
Like a gutted, padded group.
I don't want to die. Ellie, help me, please. Don't let me die, Ellie. I love you, girl. You're my girl, all, but don't let me die, Ellie. Do not let me die. I do want to. I am free. I am free, bitch. I am free. And she's dead. Oh God, that's some sad shit right there, dog. That's some sad shit right there. That is some sad shit right there, motherfucker. Damn, Abby, your girl died, dog. It's like she died in my arms tonight. It must have been something I said. Oh, I wish I knew the rest of this lyrics, but she died in my heart tonight. It must have been something I did. She gets abruptly impaled through her skull, a foot away from the granddaughter. There's so much trauma for the road. What if she wanted to believe you, and now she's just like so messed up she can't do anything with you? She died. She died in my arms tonight. I was just something I said. Bitch died in my arms tonight. It must have been something I did. Why? Why did the bitch have to die? Oh. You know it's not gonna be Donna gonna die. It was like some other bitch who died and had a kid. You know that you can't kill out Donna. They can't kill out Donna. She's too important to the story, aka the video game. Was like, man, that bitch dead. That bitch dead. Why? 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 And also, if she did die, I will be I'll be reincarnated as Hawkgirl, because I'm gonna be in the Superman movie, and then I'm also gonna be in Peacemaker season 2, because I'm a Justice Gang member. I cannot die because I am a Tamarian, and I just get reincarnated. No, it's true. The actress who played Dana also played Hawkgirl in the upcoming Superman movie / Peacemaker show. So, yeah, I can't die because I'm a Tamarian. I will just come back as a Justice Gang member for the new James Gunn's DC Studio projects. Because I'm so popular as an actress, you can all kiss my Latino ass. Kiss my Latino ass. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. Cause can you say go fuck yourself? I know you can, kids. Cause swiper don't swipe, swiper don't swipe, swiper don't swipe. Cause Dora the Explorer. Let's go! Oh, I'm such an asshole. I'm such an asshole. Dora the Explorer. Let's go. Oh, the president wants to send me back to my country? Hell no, orange man. Go. Donald, don't swipe. Donald, don't swipe. Oh God, I hate America.
It's just this insane series of disaster of him being like pulled into the sand by his nose ring, setting the entire.
That's Donna, the Explorer, Donna the Explorer. Let's go. See, senor. I am drunk premium. My whole career is basically sucking the white man's dick, senor. Why did you fire my girl Gina Carano? See, senor. Oh, you SAW, you son of a bitch. Oh, see, senor. I'm a Mexico. I like tacos. I like whatever that white man tells me. Senor, I'm Jefe. I used to work for Geeks and Gamer. I was right there sucking the white man's dick, senor. I'm Pepe, Senor. Me love you long time, senor. Me give good blowjobs, senor. See, we will help you with build the road, senor. Damn. God fucking damn, Neil. I'm like, what the fuck, man? You don't end the show like that with Ellie and Abby. It's like you think you know, but they did it was all in their head. It's like, damn. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, fuck me, dog. I thought that was the end right there. Let's go!
So JB is William Bloodworth. I guess JB was his nickname, managing to get one last appearance in the franchise before passed away. Because they knew he was dying, they actually let this be a final send-off for him. And
yeah, Abby is like walkie.
that Iris ended up saving.
It's kind of sad that Catherine, who plays Abby, doesn't look like Abby from the video game, aka the Muscles. I'm not saying I hate her in the role. I'm just saying if you're going to be accurate in the video game, you could have let her go to the gym and get worked out for the role, dog. Unless you're setting that up for season 3. And that's where Catherine as Abby's going to be all, bam! I'm your muscle mommy, bitch. I'm your muscle mommy, bitch. Day 1. So we said if that is so, then I'm okay with her looking skinny now because she can look buff for season 3. So that's how it is. It's like set up to her getting her. We're gonna have Abby versus Ellie. WrestleMania, motherfuckers! WrestleMania! Who's gonna be the champ now? Is it gonna be Abby or Ellie? The fight of the century, the rumble in the jungle, motherfuckers. There can only be one bitch in this battle, motherfuckers. It's the battle of the champions. The Alacana, the Sinatala, the it's leading up to the fight of the century. Which bitch is gonna last? We all know who's gonna win, but it's like the rumble in the jungle, the it's the battle of the bitches. Which bitch is gonna do it? Will it be Abby or Ellie? We all know which one, but it's like the fun of the party, baby. The fun of the party. Which bitch is gonna last? Would it be Ellie or Abby? The color gonna tabby, the citadel of a baby, the tie. One shall fall, one shall stand. There's gonna be one bitch in this franchise. It's gonna be the color the citadel bam, the citadel bam. There can only be one evil bitch in this battle, the sexes, the celebrity death match of all celebrity death match. Let's get it on. So yeah, there you go. It was. I kind of like the ending of season 2, but not really. But did I hate it? No, I had fun watching. It was an interesting episode. So yeah, I'm gonna call it there. Cause yeah, I gotta go to bed because I'm kind of tired. My black ass is like blah 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 motherfuckers, blah 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 motherfuckers. The bitch is like, I'm gonna say this. Neil drop. What's up with the whole flashback scene with Abby had an hallucination, a dream of her shooting Ellie with a handgun. I know it's in the video game, but I was like, what was the point of it? I get it's a premonition of what is gonna happen in season 3, but I'm like, why? That's my only gripe with it was like that shit. Everything else was okay. It's like the whole this one chick was pregnant and she died, and they got Donna right there. It's like you kind of thought that for a second. You thought Donna died, but it wasn't Donna. But it wasn't. You kind of happy that Donna's right there, and that you got Ellie right there, and it's like the touching between those two. It's amazing. The Donna Ellie relationship is interesting. Everything else is like okay. You got the whole that shit, and they got the whole setup for season 3. It's awesome. So I'm still looking forward to season 3. It's kind of funny. We're getting a season 3 of the series, but we're not getting a part 3 of the video game. It's kind of funny. Neil dropped in. You know, the fans, instead of remastering 1 and 2, you could have gave us part 3 of The Last of Us. That's what we wanted. We don't care for a remake of the entire series, okay? We wanted a part 3, motherfuckers. We get it in season 3, but we don't have a part 3 as a video game. Okay, I'm just saying, Neil Drumpf. The fans wanted a part 3 of the video game, just like we get in season 3. We want a part 3 of the video game, dog. I'm just saying, Cracker. I'm just saying, Drumpf. Other than that, I'll see you next time for Monday Night Raw. I'm out.
She goes to buy some lemonade in the exact same neighborhood where they all are, and it gets stuck where the train tracks should be able to